Hello, Internet.
This is the audio podcast.
Yeah, this is episode number 57, summer 2012.
We're recording this Monday, 28th of May, and it's the first time we're using the on-air feature of Google Plus Hangout thing.
Well, we hope it's the first time. It may or may not actually have worked again.
Well, we'll see, and we'll see how the video comes out, because we're not quite sure how it's going to cut in between us, really. We'll see how it handles that.
I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Samuel Freeman.
I'm Scott Hewitt.
I'm Adam Jansch, and you'll notice there might be a blank space somewhere. That might be Scott McLaughlin. We will see.
He may show up at some point. We never know. Never know.
There he is! Oh no!
Oh no! It's Scott. We've got two Scotts. Okay, so
two Scots. That's just very strange.
I lost that, guys. I lost that completely.
You lost it. Well, oh yeah, you've got one of these. Let's just plow on. It's all right.
No. But anything you just said, I just missed, and I didn't record it.
All right.
What do you mean you didn't record it?
Well, I'm recording the audio locally here as well. You see, so.
Oh.
So far, so good. Should we just plow on? We haven't got to the important parts yet. Well, you've said it's show 57, but the show notes are at wiki.theaudiopodcast.co.uk, and there are the notes of the news items, other stuff, and plunder we will be talking about today.
Awesome stuff. Cool. Shall we head straight into it then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a movie I'm really, really excited about its forthcoming release next week, so I wanted to, that was what drew my attention to it really, is the new Ridley Scott Prometheus movie. And a great article on Editors Guild about the actual alien sounds and the production techniques they used to create the sounds for the movie, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a cool article. It talks about the technology they were using and the techniques they were doing with it, and yeah, it's got some interesting ideas and some funny thoughts in there. And one thing that jumped out at me is that early on in the article they say that the I've lost it now. I should have highlighted this. The plugin Ultiverb. They say they didn't like the new version of Ultiverb, but then like towards the bottom, I think it might be somebody else quoted as saying that they used it for the start and it was great. So for the helmet sounds, when people were talking to each other through helmets, they were using the impulse response of that, so they could do ADR and then add the impulse response so that you didn't need to wear a helmet when you were doing your lines. Anyway.
Oh, I would so wear a helmet while doing lines. I'd say, forget your Ultiverb, get me a helmet whilst I do my lines. That'd be fantastic.
That would be really convenient if somebody hit you with the, with the boom mic, those classic kind of outtakes where the boom mic comes in and cracks you over the head. It'd be good to have a helmet on for that situation.
It's basic film set health and safety. And after the event, audio recording health and safety, you really should be common practice.
Helmet wearing health and safety. That's nice. The bit I really loved about the article was a bit further down. It actually then starts to list kind of physical kind of effects processors and kind of pedals and things that they use to make some of the sounds as well, which I thought it was cool the way they had a nice mix of hardware and software solutions working together.
Yep, lots of emphasis on the reverbs and talking about the different delays and stuff they had when we were playing with. Yep. Cool.
If Scott McLaughlin was with us, he'd almost certainly comment on the use of silence, which they actually talk about as a creative tool, but he's not here, so we're saying no more.
And all the way through, they're talking about the emphasis being on the audience. Like the reason that you're doing all this sound design is to create an impression for the audience, and I think that's something that it's not a self-indulgent thing that they're doing. They're contributing to the film, and they're always thinking about how it's going to be received. So yeah.
Exactly. It's important to remember, of course, that in records and in films, the whole atmosphere has to be completely reconstructed, and you kind of use real life as a kind of basis, but it has its own set of rules. So producing an audio record isn't like recording like a band live. It has its own set of rules. So that fits in with that really.
Mm.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm happy.
Well, going from one black box floating through space. Black Box Analog have released a new kind of preamp, which is now available.
It's built the old-fashioned way, apparently.
Yeah, that's what it says. I thought it has a cool website that actually works on like everything, and so I kind of liked it. So
it's quite swanky as well. So like, yeah,
So hold on, what is this box that we're talking about now?
It's item number 2 at wiki.theaudiopodcast.co.uk, show 57, and it's the Black Box Analog Design Vacuum Tube Preamp.
I see, so preamp for microphones and that kind of thing. And what features does this Black Box Audio Design Vacuum Tube Preamp have? And we discuss it on the Audio Podcast episode 57, and you can see all of our notes on wiki.theaudiopodcast.co.uk.
Adam, that is ridiculous, but thank you very much. That's absolutely great. Adam Jansch, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the main thing obviously is the fact that it has a tube, the independent tube stages and the ability to control them there. And the point they make in a lot of the blurb about it is that people talk about so much about analog to digital conversion, and there's so much development in how to do that, but people still just use the most basic, lots of people are still operating on very basic standard preamps, and this is obviously a boutique preamp which has a lot of flexibility and therefore can be used to really kind of mold and modify the sound that you're actually going to be working with.
So what kind of controls have we got? Have we got different mic impedances, any EQs, anything like that?
I was just looking at that. Like, one thing that caught my eye was the 5-position gentle and musical roll-off, and that's only 2 positions they've mentioned. I don't know what the other 3 would be, maybe in between. But if you're on the page and you go up from features to where it says real power, they're using 350 volts of pure linear power to get the most out of the tubes, apparently.
Wow.
As always, you can you can find the full kind of link to everything on there. They have audio examples of the kit in use as well. The thing that intrigued me about this is, are you guys using kind of boutique preamps? Not today to do this show. I don't think anybody is.
No, I don't own anything like that. The best preamp I have right now is the one in my Novation Neo, which I'm using today. Sounds great, doesn't it?
But I do wonder about whether I understand why you would want to have a kind of nice boutique preamp, but I often wonder, whereabouts on my priorities list should it or should it not be for doing things, because it isn't, at the end of the day, if you have a really nice preamp and then you put it into some horrific analog to digital conversion, then it's just pointless having the nice preamp. And I suspect that many other people have come to that conclusion as well. So it's better to invest in the preamp, and then it's better to invest in the conversion and the preamp later on if you ever get to the point where you want to or can afford to, or it's commercially viable to do so.
I suppose really the question there is it worth spending a lot of money on one part of the recording chain that's a lot better than the rest, or is it better to spread your money around and rather than have a big spike in one part of your recording chain, you bring the quality of your whole recording chain up less, but together? Which is the better one to do?
Which indeed, I suppose, depends on your long-term goals. If you were going to build up a high-quality system over time, then you might stick with your standard-ish and something like this preamp with it in mind to, down the line, improve what it is that you're doing throughout the whole chain. Doing it one at a time. You've got to start somewhere. It's not.
If I was going to start somewhere, though, I'd start at the recorder. I'd want the best recorder possible, because at the end of the day, that's capturing the material. So best recorder,
the best recorder,
and
you
then go from there.
the best analog to digital converter, basically.
Yes, or whatever kind of recorder I was choosing to make. Yes, but I take your point.
Would you have a recommendation for that, or are you going to sit on the fence?
No, I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm just saying, in my mind, I would invest in the recording and capturing stage first, and then the other elements later on.
That's some sound advice. Sound advice from the 3 of us here at the Audio Podcast. What is the next item on the list?
That's a very poor link there, by the way, Adam.
Hey, I've been listening to all your links from previous audio podcasts, and I've got to say that I'm not that impressed, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm not
Well, a little bit more of a kind of business commercial story. It's just that Loud Technologies, who are the owners of Martin Audio, have announced that they're looking for kind of what they refer to as private equity support, which basically means that they're looking for somebody to invest some money in Martin Audio to keep it, to perhaps keep it going or to reinvigorate the business. So I just spotted that going through and just thought Martin Audio is obviously a well-respected company who makes some incredible kit, but kind of registered it as a story. I'm not really sure whether you have any comment to make on it or not. Just to remark, it's there. It's essentially a business story more than a audio tech, just involving an audio technology company.
What kind of kit do they do? I might have heard of some stuff, but I'm not sure.
Loudspeakers.
Loudspeakers, okay.
That's their main
studio quality loudspeakers, kind of monitors, or are we talking home?
Live. You're talking live work. Glastonbury, that sort of
okay.
stuff. So, I'm saying they've been well known and well respected for a long time. But I think it's interesting. Well, it's one of these classic things, isn't it, where everybody thinks of Martin Audio as being a kind of a London company, and I suspect most people probably think of it as being a kind of family company kind of thing. But obviously, in reality, it's owned by an American company called Loud Technologies. So it's what it is. It's what it is. Anyway, I guess if you've got a whole load of money and you haven't thought about owning your own loudspeaker company, then this has been a great item.
Now, talking about countries, maybe we should move on and talk about Vienna special editions.
Yeah.
See, that was a terrible...
That's more like it. That's more like it. Come on, you're getting into the spirit of things.
I'm getting into the spirit, but the thing is that Vienna is not a country. Vienna is a city. So I've booed there.
No, that is a quality link you just did there, Adam. You should be proud of that one.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I put that on my CV. I'll put it on my CV.
The Vienna Symphonic Library came up a few weeks ago, but not as an item, and now it's here in the news because they've got the special editions, entry-level collections of sample series.
Yeah. That's it.
That's
Released. Available, so you can go get them. Yeah. This is kind of cool. Should we head on?
Yes, I can't see the pricing on it immediately, so I give up.
So Pro Tools have released. This actually only just missed. This missed last week's show probably by an hour or so. So it's 6 days old almost here now. But the Pro Tools 10.2 update has been released for Pro Tools and Pro Tools HD on OS X and Windows 7. It's cool.
So now all we have to do is wait for either Pro Tools 10.3, or 11, which will get rid of the old versions of the hardware, or we have to wait for their Windows 8 version. Let's see if they even do that. That'll probably take about 3 years to do.
Well, maybe they never will. I don't know. Could you imagine the Metro interface version of Pro Tools? That could be quite a...
Well, they'll probably just run it on the legacy desktop, because I don't see how you would be able to run it very well, and certainly not Metro style on the Windows 8. I'm really looking forward to Windows 8. That's a really strange thing for me to say because I'm well known as a Mac boy, but I'm interested. I'm looking forward to see what it's like. But let's see what the musical outcomes are, because it's a completely different kind of interface to what we're used to on a computer desktop, laptop type platform. Yeah,
that's very true. Did everybody spot the big features on this update, or is there any? I know there's lots of those moments where they say and lots of other bugs fixed as well.
Well, probably cool. The big ones would be AAX versions of some of the plugins that you get with the system. So Deverb, SansAmp, and the Jomeek plugins. That'll be a significant thing. And they've also been ported onto Windows, the AAX versions. Anything else you two would like to add?
Apparently there's now support for up to 3 HDX cards.
Well, that's great, because we really need 3 HDX cards. Have you guys read about... I read the Sound on Sound review of the new Pro Tools hardware, and they say that 1 AAX card is like having like 3 of the old cards or something like that. They're super powerful, and you could probably... most people could get away with just the 1 card in the computer, not having to have 2 as a standard, but just 1, and then the really hardcore user can go up. So, you know, that's not really headline for me. That's like only a very small amount of people really need that.
Yeah, I'd agree. You know, something that is cool, I think that's important just to mention in the space is that it's really cool that Avid and Pro Tools are still rolling these updates, you know, in kind of free of charge in the way that they are doing, because I'm saying Adobe have started switching to a model of having to pay for kind of minor updates now and things like that. So I think we should kind of acknowledge to Avid that that's a great thing by them still to offer that kind of these kind of incremental updates free in that sort of way, which is cool.
Well, I think you guys might have talked in a previous audio podcast about maybe how Avid are changing their market position. And that might have something to do with that, I imagine. Did you guys talk about it, or did I read that somewhere else?
Yeah, we've talked about that a couple of times, just saying that, you know, Avid as a business looks as if it is, well, Avid having bought Digi and acquiring Pro Tools, you know, Avid's main focus always was kind of professional video production in the live environment. That was what they did, and adding Pro Tools onto the side of that makes perfect sense for them, because most of their users were probably using Pro Tools on the side of their kind of video work. So the integration for them obviously makes perfect sense, and I think the Pro Tools home users are of less interest to Avid, and you can see that happening now because of the way they've allowed Pro Tools to operate using, you know, other hardware now. That makes perfect sense in the context of that decision, but not in the old DigiDesign way of working.
Now, can I just stop you right there, Scott? I have some breaking news for you, and that news is that Scott McLaughlin has joined us. Hello, Scott McLaughlin.
Oh, hey, we can't hear you though. We cannot hear you.
His mic is not working. That is amazing.
That is a horrific fail.
That's 5 minutes. He's here for 5 minutes, or the world's going to blow up in 5 minutes? It's a movie with 2 syllables.
For those who are enjoying the audio-only version of this show, Scott is attempting a charade with Adam guessing. We'd actually recommend playing this game with max objects. That's usually more satisfying than random things here, as discussed on our trip to M4U earlier on this year.
Okay, so I'm going to add something into the show notes because it was there and I took it out. Just because we're on the subject of updates and things, there is this week being announced the Reason 6.5 update, and that's in beta version, I think. The reason I took it out of the notes was that in order to sign up to test it and do it, you have to agree to non-disclosure, and I didn't want to try and think about whether that meant I was allowed to talk about it or not. So having not agreed to it, I am talking about it.
That's a wise move you've made there, Sam. That's the right call. If you have an NDA disclosure, then it's okay for us to do it. What we should do is we should contact the guys though and see if we can get some sort of dispensation or permission. So we'll make sure we get that sorted out. Oh, well, maybe so. Yeah, that's cool. So whereabouts are we?
We are.
I think we've gone through the news, and we might now be at other stuff, the very vague and ambiguous new section.
So the idea of other stuff for Adam, we've discussed it briefly, is other stuff is the things that aren't news because they're not entirely newsworthy, really. But it's not plunder because it's not actually genuinely interesting either. It's more things that are interesting in the community of this podcast.
Could I say maybe it should be called administrative?
Because that sounds great.
Well, it sounds a little bit less vague than other stuff.
I'm willing to take suggestions for what the other stuff could be named. However, administrative is not a solution.
But by calling it other stuff, it leaves it completely open to use it for absolutely any stuff. So if we had some really important administrative stuff to put into the show, we wouldn't have to invent a section for that.
You said administrative.
So
that's a vote for me. That's a vote for administrative.
Other stuff will be the things between newsworthy items and plunder, which don't fit in the other category. So that could be such as other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other stuff have we got this week?
Well, the first one is just a reply back to the Pro Tooler blog. We obviously reported that they were unwell, and hence there's been a little bit of gap there, and we wish them a get well soon. And they had replied back in kind and gave us a mention on their blog as a concern. So I thought that was fantastic.
Yep. So Stiff's back to blogging in a gentle way, easing himself back into it. That's very good. And I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing, Scott, that the link to the next plunder item may have also come through. Did it?
We lost the last half of what you said there.
Try again, Sam.
Oh dear. Can I retract it if it didn't get through?
We haven't heard anything you said for the last 30 seconds. This is a Hangout epic fail. While Scott McLaughlin continues in silence on the side.
Well, the irony, of course, is that the next item is about Google Plus Hangouts. So, of course, it was going to fail then.
That's very true. So, just to remind everybody, we are recording this show via a Google Plus Hangout. We push it. We're actually using YouTube on air as well today, so you can actually watch the show live on YouTube at 7. Around about 7. We're never on time because that's the beauty. We don't have to be on time. So we're approximately on time at 7 o'clock. We haven't quite worked out. There'll be a link which will be here's how you get to where it appears on YouTube, because I haven't really worked out where it appears on YouTube live yet. So perhaps Scott, I don't know if you're watching it on. Oh no, it's okay. I'll work it out. I'm just going to see if we can find that. But if you want to, I haven't done it yet actually, but in the future what we're going to do is if you add the audio podcast to a circle on Google+, that allows us to add you to one of our circles. You have to do it that way around. We can't do it the other way around. And I will add you into our, is it called listeners or is it called viewers? I don't know. We have a group of people who have added us who are interested in the show. We'll add you to that. And in future weeks, I will remember to add that group to the Hangout. So then if you want to come and hang out with us and contribute as well, then as a listener, you'd be welcome to do that. Adam, that's a silly face. What's going on?
I was just trying to distract you.
You did really well. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, so that's the point of the Google Plus link, which is cool, which is kind of fun. Should we head into the plunder?
We should. Adam, get your pirate hat on.
Get your pirate hat on.
Oh, okay. Let me go and do this. It slowed down the video connection significantly, but for your YouTube viewers, here's a Google effect for you. Whoa! I'm a pirate. Whoa!
It be plunder time.
Coming through that.
Boom, boom.
Plunder.
Oh wait, stop. We might be copyright infringing.
And we're on YouTube. Oh, that's great work. Oh, fantastic.
Sorry, the very first time we infringed copyright
ever on the show.
On YouTube live. Okay, it doesn't matter.
No, it'll be fine.
Doesn't podcasting fall in the same category as radio, and can't you get away with 15 seconds or something before it's a problem?
Fair use.
Considering that YouTube have attempted to remove content that was entirely our own under copyright guys' grounds, I wouldn't like to vote any sort of sensibility for this. Okay,
so let's get on with the plunder.
Plunder!
I'm going to hand over to one of you two. I don't know who has the first one here.
I'll take it. Maker Fair had a live event, and somebody brought along a guitar. I think it's a bass actually, with a C64 body, like a C64 computer attached to its body, which I thought was kind of fun.
I only watched the beginning of this video, which auto plays, like to warn that kind of thing. But yeah, it was on the live stream. I'm trying to remember. Yes, so she was calling it a keytar. Used the Commodore 64 using for the sound. So she had a bass attached to it with 4 piezo pickups. So she was taking each string individually to get the pitch that was being played, and then somehow resynthesizing that through the keytar, and all of the QWERTY keys played notes as well. Kind of good fun.
Awesome. I thought it was a cool video.
Well,
Adam.
I didn't see that. Okay, this is one that I put in this week. So any programmers among you will probably have come across Stack Overflow, the Q&A site for programming problems, and has a very particular way that it's set up. The people who run Stack Overflow have basically copied that system and made a number of other sites for non-programming things. And these include these 2 new ones which are in beta, which are the audio and video production Stack Exchange site and signal processing. Now, both of those, they're not just for audio, but they are you can basically go on there, get tips, ask questions about, in one case, audio production, in another case, things like DSP programming. So if you're trying to build something using DSP, and it's something like Alex Harker would do. And it's all set in the Stack Exchange mode of delivering a Q&A site. So you ask a question, it gets voted up or down depending on if it's a good question or not, and answers are rated depending on the reputation they get, the votes they get, rather than just being in time order. So it's a lot easier, a lot faster to get to information if you're looking for information. And then you get a reputation system, you get reputation points, and the more reputation points you get, the more privileges you have as a user. So yes, I came across these recently, and I thought it would be a good idea to put them out there, get the audio podcast guys interested, head on there and see what you can do, really. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, welcome back to Scott McLaughlin, who has sound now. I think we can hear you.
I think I can hear me.
Hey.
Oh, just about.
Yeah, muffled and open.
You're very, very low pass, shall we say.
Talk loudly of a Scott.
Quiet Scott. When we were talking about SoundCloud last week or the week before, we said how it's strange that like the kind of sharing of ideas and sharing of stuff doesn't seem to happen so much with audio, and this seems like it's addressing that exact.
Well, I think this isn't so much. I don't think this is necessarily about the creative, like getting people to listen to your work and getting soliciting opinion on your work. I think it's more about the technical side behind it. So audio-video production would be, okay, so I'm having trouble bringing the voice out in this mix. I've tried this and this and this. Hasn't really worked. Can anyone shed some light? It'll be that kind of thing. It's really a Q&A site. It's about asking a question and being as precise as you can, and then making sure that whoever gets the correct answer or the closest answer gets accepted and gets extra reputation and all this kind of stuff. So it still has a kind of programming mentality about it. That's probably why I like it, because I'm a bit of a programmer myself.
So the emphasis is on searching the site. Am I still with you? My computer's frozen.
Yeah, you're back.
I think you stopped for a second there.
I've lost my train of thought now.
That's cool. It's a cool resource, isn't it? If you've got some programming issues which are audio or DSP related, then that's a really great resource to go and get involved in and contribute to.
It's not necessarily about programming per se, though. I think it's more about techniques and things as well. So the DSP one will probably be about programming, but the production one's about techniques. Anyway,
so
yes,
the kind of thing.
It's a good resource.
So there might be stuff on there about how to use compressors, perhaps.
Oh, very possibly, very possibly.
So Audio Geek Zine have put a kind of fairly cool how to use compressors up, which I spotted and I thought was kind of cool. So yeah.
Yay.
So I think I'm slightly nervous that we might have linked to this like a couple of weeks ago. A bit of me worried about this, but I didn't worry too much that I looked. I don't think we did.
No, I don't think we've not. No, I think this is Audio Geeks in 2012-05 in the URL, so we haven't linked to anything in the past few weeks. I think we're safe.
That's cool. That's fine. So that's a cool how to use compressors, which is worth having. Yeah.
Cool.
Something that's worth knowing how to do, so why not have a look at it? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. I'm going to move on. So the first time that Bug Moog's birthday was celebrated recently online. Yeah.
Yep. And May 23rd was what it says, and there was a Google Doodle. I honestly wasn't online that day.
Oh, I saw this. It was great. It was a synthesizer. And you could play it, and you could change the parameters on the synthesizer that was on the Google front page. It was really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I think as a yeah, that was cool. Alongside that, there was a whole mountain of kind of videos and demonstrations of the Mini Moog and a whole load of things. I decided to go to the Create Digital Music. Link to the Create Digital Music article because I did a really good job of collating a whole load of things together, which saved me having to choose which one to put into our show notes, show blender. So just think, let's link to CDM and send everybody across to there because it's pretty cool.
We've not done that for quite a while.
No. Cool. Awesome stuff. So is that it? Have we made it to the end?
I believe we have.
We made it to the end. Fantastic stuff. Well, yeah. So this has been we don't think we're going to be here next week because we've got a bank holiday here in the UK. It's also the Queen's Jubilee, so we actually have the Tuesday off as well. So we suspect there won't be a show next week. But having had a quick discussion about it, it turns out that at least two of us probably aren't doing anything that would prevent us from doing a show. So it may well happen, but I wouldn't count on there being a show next week. But there we go. That's just that is. This has been show number 57 of the Audio Podcast, summer 2012, recorded May 2012. I've been Scott Hewitt.
I'm Samuel Freeman.
I've been Adam Jansch.
And I have not been Scott McLaughlin.